It's day two after India's won the T20 World Cup and the IPL fever is already on. Welcome to Wake Up Cricket powered by Pavilion Picks. It's 8 a.m. and you're already here. So thank you guys for joining us. Like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. If you haven't already, let's get into the world of cricket. Let's get into it.
Well, Ashwin's command being let's get into the world of cricket, so be it. Let's get started with Samson's gratitude for Tendulkar's guidance after feeling broke. Sanju Samson felt his dreams had shattered after a poor T20I series against New Zealand just prior to the 2026 T20 World Cup, but conversations over past 2 months with Sachin Tendulkar reassured him that a turnaround wasn't far away. To be honest, there's been a lot of guidance and suggestions from senior players, Samson said after winning the Player of the Tournament award in India's successful T20 World Cup defense. A lot of former players have reached out to me and tried to help me out from the last couple of months. I hope I can share it here. I've been in constant touch with Sachin sir. When I was sitting out in Australia during the T20Is in October, I wasn't playing a game. I thought about what mindset is required. I reached out to Sir and had huge, long conversations with him. Even yesterday, that is Saturday night, he called me up to check how I'm feeling. Getting guidance from someone like him, that clarity, that game preparation, awareness, and game sense, I'm grateful for everyone who supported me. To be very honest, this entire process started 2 years before when I was with the 2024 World Cup winning team in West Indies. He said, I couldn't get a game, but I kept on dreaming, kept on visualizing, kept on working. This is exactly what I wanted to do then. I thought I needed to put in so much work that this is exactly what I wanted to achieve. By God's grace, today things have turned around.
By God's grace, indeed they have. And there is so many beautiful elements to this story, especially when it comes to sport, right? For starters, Sanju Samson was a part of that 2024 T20 World Cup where he, of course, could not get a game. There was even a conversation that Rohit Sharma had with him talking about how unfortunately he does not fit the combination. And although you're a part as a player of that squad itself, and the fact, damn, we're getting switched around quite a bit.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, and although you
No,
want to say
good,
something?
just good to say we're back.
We're back indeed. But yeah, although for Sanju Samson, he was a part of the 2024 T20 World Cup final and not playing it, but winning it. It's a different feeling when you're not featuring in the side versus when you are the one contributing to the victory. And so, from that lens itself, this becomes a beautiful journey. Also, because of what the 2 years were leading up to this World Cup, right? We all know that he basically put in the performances and then was unfortunately moved to the middle order, which clearly wasn't his spot to bat in. And then when he came back just before the New Zealand series, he had a terrible run. Now, that highlights how cruel sport can be, right? You are going to see more failures as a sports person as opposed to success. But for him
Unless
to get,
you're Michael Phelps.
well, that's a lot of gold medals. But yeah, unless speaking of gold medals, we will come to a
Oh,
story
yeah,
on
that
that.
is true. Yeah.
But yeah, for Sanju Samson then to come back and to be able to do what he did, I think credit has to go also to Sachin. And yeah, I think Sachin just doing Sachin's things, still helping out Indian cricket in ways that a lot of us get to know only after there is a success.
Yeah, there's been a lot of cricketers who have credited their success in that moment to Sachin Tendulkar, and of course, it's him they credit it to.
It's wonderful indeed. A lot of former Indian cricketers are involved with the current crop, be it Yuvraj Singh or Sachin Tendulkar, despite not being involved in official capacity. Moving on, Suryakumar Yadav says LA 28 Olympic gold, the next goal. After leading India to their third T20 World Cup title, Suryakumar Yadav has set his sights on winning the Olympic Games gold medal in 2028 on cue, Praatibh. Obviously, it has been a wonderful journey in the last 1 month, though it didn't start the way we wanted it to start, but then it's part of sport. Suryakumar Yadav said at his post final press conference in Ahmedabad. Throughout the journey till today, it has been a very special. And collectively, as a team, what we've achieved, I think, is right in front of you. That is the trophy. So I'm very happy that, and the next goal is Olympic gold, and also the team that we work with. Six teams, each in men's and women's categories, will contest for the Olympic medals between July 14th and 29th in 2028 after the International Olympic Committee added cricket to the roster for the very first time since the Paris 1900 Olympics. Based on the current ICC T20 rankings in both men's and women's competitions, India are set to qualify from Asia. All the matches will be held at the Fairground Stadium, a temporary purpose built venue in the city of Pomona. about 50 kilometers from Los Angeles.
Now, I feel like a lot of people on Reddit have, not Reddit, but like social media have a memory of a goldfish because after the final, people were talking about what did Suryakumar Yadav even do in the World Cup for him to be so successful and as a winning captain. For starters, he was the captain. And until the final, he was the second highest scorer for the Indian team. And by the end of the T20 World Cup, I don't know if he'll be proud of the stats, but an average of 130 with a strike rate of 136 isn't all that bad when you think about it. I mean, he was one of the reasons for why India won against the USA.
Yes,
And if
sir.
he had lost that game, God knows what would have happened. But here we are as the T20 World Cup champions. That being said, if Virat Kohli couldn't play T20 cricket for the Indian team at the age of 37, I don't know if Suryakumar Yadav can, is all I'm going to say. I mean, it's a bit ambitious for him to think about the 2028 Olympics, and I'm sure that is his goal. Like Steve Smith also wants to be part of the Australian squad going to the Olympics, where he wasn't even part of the first 15 of the T20 World Cup. So all of these players have goals. Time will tell if they can make it to the 28 Olympic. I was going to say
Olympics.
World Cup, yeah, the
Yeah.
Olympics. But yeah, leading up to the World Cup, Suryakumar Yadav wasn't in the greatest of form, but he found his form in the New Zealand series, batted extremely well, and then he batted extremely well against the US of A and batted under pressure. But after that, didn't really score a lot of runs. And now we have the 2 years to go. So next year is the ODI World Cup. You wouldn't necessarily play a lot of T20 cricket, and then you would probably play a lot of T20 cricket, and then you have also the IPL in between all of that. So only time will tell if Suryakumar Yadav will feature at the age of 37 as the captain or not the captain. I want to say we might potentially have better number 4 batters with Shreyas Iyer maybe in the mix. I'll be shocked if Suryakumar Yadav makes it, but if he does, I'm only happy for him. What am I to say?
True. I
Anything.
think the key to that will just be him having good IPLs and consistently getting picked for India. That's really all it is.
True.
In fact, Shreyas Iyer too would be around 34 till then or more.
Would be, yeah, that's true.
We've been wished good morning by Sandeep. Sandeep, long time no see what's happening. Anyway, Sri Lanka appoint Gary Kirsten as men's head coach. Sri Lanka cricket has officially announced the appointment of Gary Kirsten as the new head coach of the team's national team, rather men's national team. Kirsten, who comes with a hefty coaching pedigree, will take over the reins on April 15 on a 2-year contract that runs until April 14th, 2028. The former South African batter will take over a Sri Lankan side that's seeking stability and a blueprint for consistency in the modern game. While outgoing head coach Sanat Jasuria was undoubtedly a household name, Kirsten is without doubt the most blockbuster appointment to the position in Sri Lanka's history. Jasuria, who officially resigned as the head coach following the tournament's conclusion, will now head the High Performance Centre. Sri Lanka enjoyed historic home successes in 2024 under his leadership, including a first ODI series win against India in 27 years, but their recent World Cup campaign ended in the Super 8 after disappointing losses to England and New Zealand. Sri Lanka's campaign was marked by competing philosophies, with batters in particular seemingly lacking clarity in their roles. SLC, in a media release, stated that the appointment of the new head coach is part of Sri Lankan cricket's efforts to revamp the structure of the National High Performance Centre. Kirsten will first and foremost be tasked with establishing a clear path to success.
All right, so this one's a very interesting piece of news, right? Because Sri Lanka, of course, did not have a really good T20 World Cup, and considering the fact that they were one of the co-hosts, they would have wanted to perform better. There's also something that their captain did speak about.
Yep.
Having said that, Sanat Jayasuriya has actually done a great job in revamping and bringing back that sort of fire that we've known Sri Lankan cricket to have. I mean, it is evident in the fact that Megha did talk about Sri Lanka winning that ODI series against India. Historic 27 years later is what they were able to accomplish that. But something I like is that there is still continuity because they've decided that Jayasuriya is a man who's probably better suited to a level outside of just the national team job. Maybe he can help with grassroots. Maybe he can help bring up the players through the ranks and condition them beautifully for entering a squad that will now be led by Gary Kirsten. I think everyone knows about Gary Kirsten. He was India's coach when they won the 2011 World Cup. He's done well for South Africa as well. Led them, I think, to the first place in the Test arena as well. So Gary Kirsten has the kind of CV that you can boast of. And coming into this squad, there's so many young players. In fact, in many ways, it is similar to the Indian squad, where it is a blend of a little bit of mix and also a little bit of experience and a lot of youth that is coming through the ranks. So I think it's a good pipeline, and it makes sense for Sri Lankan cricket to focus on the entire pipeline itself and not just the national team, which is what I think we are seeing through this change.
And Gary Kirsten has been coming into the international circuit slowly but surely, right? First, he took a break after 2011, then joined back with South Africa and then the IPL. And then he was also he was part of one of the associate nations, if
Namibia?
I'm not wrong.
Was it Namibia? Not as a
Yeah,
head
yeah, he was
coach.
he was part of one of the associate nation and now full fledged and for one of the test playing nations. So good on him.
Absolutely. Sandeep, we are very sorry to hear of your loss. Moving on to the next story. Sandeep is somebody who follows our live shows pretty regularly. Meanwhile, Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore will host the tournament opener and final of the most popular T20 franchise league. The 19th edition of the Indian Premier League will start on March 28th and will run till the end of May, according to official broadcaster Star Sports. By the virtue of being the champions, Royal Challengers Bangalore will host the lung opener as well as the finals at the Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore. The Board of Control for Cricket in India is likely to release the fixtures of the most popular T20 franchise league in the coming days. The schedule of IPL has apparently been delayed due to ensuing assembly elections in five states, that is Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, and Assam. According to insiders, the BCCI is likely to announce the schedule in two phases. The second phase, which includes the playoff matches, will be announced at a later date.
Take this news with a pinch of salt because leading up to the IPL, there's a lot of news that doesn't necessarily gets confirmed. Because think about how stupid this really sounds. Because until even 2 months before the IPL, they didn't know if Chinnaswamy was going to hold a single match, and suddenly it's the season opener and the final of the IPL. So you don't know. I'll be surprised if it is the final and not Ahmedabad, to be honest.
Yeah.
For all you know, but yeah, I will be a little surprised if Chinnaswamy hosts the final. I'll be happy. A lot of people from Karnataka will be happy, but yeah, I will be a little surprised. No, saying that, it is very good. I mean, we have talked about this before. It's good for Chinnaswamy and the people from Bangalore that they will be hosting at least 5 matches. At least that's what's being said. It's very funny that Raipur is also holding a couple of matches, and Praatibh had a theory of why it became Raipur in the end.
Oh yeah, so I think there was a lot of discussion around the Raipur cricket scene sort of being established, and so as a franchise that's as big as RCB, you would want to be able to host them whenever you can. And I think Raipur also had really good incentives. Also, why we do see that two matches are still going to happen in Raipur as of yet, because clearly something has been offered that RCB is happy
Yeah.
to take up and join or have it as part of their home ground setup. Initially, I think there was also conversation that Raipur would just host everything for
Yeah,
RCB,
true.
and that's where this connection even began for them. It's nice for the people in Raipur because they get to see at least those two IPL games, and hopefully we can have more venues that get at least the IPL teams in, because we have 10 teams. This time it's also going to be 84 games as opposed to the 74. So this is going to be the largest IPL anyways in terms of the number of matches that are being played. And so from that lens, I think it makes sense to have cricket that goes out. You already have the concept of these IPL fan parks, and also you have crowds coming in from even like the tier 2, tier 3 cities and the smaller areas where stadiums might not be there. So this is a good initiative in that sense.
Yeah, but what will be interesting is how RCB go about strategizing home games, because
Yeah.
before the auction they didn't even know which is their home game to begin with, and now they have Raipur and Chinnaswamy. So it will be interesting how they go about making home advantage a thing for them this season.
Pratibh, you talked about Raipur, the chief minister in that case, uh, offering to provide RCB with some tax benefits, and obviously was personally involved. So they were really keen
Hmm.
to actually make sure that the games, there were some games held in Raipur. That's something probably you didn't want to divulge there. 5 and 5. Brett Randall blown away after blowing Northern Districts away in landmark spell. Central District's fast bowler Brett Randall has created history by becoming the first bowler in the history of first class cricket to pick up 5 wickets in 5 balls. He recorded the feat on day 2 of a Plunket Shield game against Northern Districts in Napier on Sunday. In a spell from hell, Randall ran through the Northern District's top order as they slipped from 4 for no loss to 9 for 5 in the space of 5 Randall deliveries. Rendell started the slide with the last ball of his second over when he removed opener Henry Cooper with a pitch of an in-dipper that swung in late and crashed into Cooper's off pole, the batter having shouldered arms. With the first ball of his next over, Rendell went around the wicket to G Travel and left his stumps in a mess. Rendell then claimed a hat trick with Joe Carter caught behind, though the batter looked displeased with the decision. There was no doubt with his fourth wicket when Robert O'Donnell edged Rendell's outswinger to Curtis Heafy in the slips. Rendell then added a fifth wicket in 5 balls to his tally when Christian Clark flirted at a delivery well outside off, got a thin inside edge with the ball, bouncing back onto his stumps and disturbing his leg bail. Reynolds' bowling figures at this stage read a barely believable 2.4 overs, 1 maiden, 2 runs, and 5 wickets. Ben Pomare denied Rendell a sixth wicket in 6, but history had already been made by then. Soon after, Rendell also became the first to take 6 wickets in 8 balls in first class cricket.
This is mental to think about, right? Here's first of all, it's not under 12s cricket, it's not under 14s cricket. That's the place you might see a hat trick or like 4 wickets in 4 balls. But 5 in 5, even at age group level, feels like such a stretch. And then for this man to come and do this in first class cricket, proper competitive cricket, there will be some discussion around that third wicket, the hat trick ball. It's almost as if the batsman had not edged that particular delivery but was given out anyways. He did seem very disappointed with that, but I think when you're on a spree like that, the umpire generally tends to side with the bowler because who doesn't like to see a hat trick? I've got one myself, that's a flex. But keeping all of that in mind, 5 wickets in 5 balls is insane. If you look at the spell, it's all really good deliveries at really good lines and lengths and greatly deserved, I guess. But from there, 6 wickets in 8 balls, I think that is absolutely unheard of. If you look at the entirety of cricket, the only thing I can think of is a 4 in 4 that Malinga had gotten in the
Malinga.
international cricket. But outside of that, this feels like such a rare feat. And at the rate things are going, I think we might be able to witness a double hat trick in our lifetimes. But Ashwin, have you had any such experience where you've seen multiple wickets fall quickly?
Honestly, unfortunately, actually not fortunately. If I was on the fielding end, it would have been unfortunate. But I've never seen a hat trick in real life. I've never
Whoa.
been part of a hat trick while playing the game. I've hit 5 6s,
Oh, well, same.
if that counts for anything. But yeah, I've never seen a hat trick in my entire life while playing the game for the last 10 years or while watching whatever cricket I watched live. Of course, I've seen it on TV, but apart from that, nada. Yeah.
You know, I'd been wondering, it had been a week since the boys flaunted their achievements, but okay, the week has elapsed. All right, then. So we move
Anecdotal,
on to the
anecdotal.
meme.
Anecdotal is important.
Absolutely, absolutely. That enriches the conversation. And so do the memes. And we have a meme on Gautam Gambhir. It's over to you,
Well,
that.
Well, all I want to say is that I mean we made a reel on this from our account, and for whatever reason, some people still think we're being snobbish about this fact. It's the fact that Gautam Gambhir now by far is the best T20 coach in the world ever, or at least for India, because leading up to the T20 World Cup, not only did he not lose any series. Yeah, he just didn't lose anything. He's everything that he's been part of in terms of a cup or a series, he's just won it. He's won the Asia Cup. He won against South Africa in South Africa, in India. He won against New Zealand in India. He won against England in India. He's won against every team. He's won the T20 World Cup. He's just won everything in the T20 World Cup. He's also won the IPL, of course. But yeah, he's just won everything as the coach, and there's
Yeah.
nothing for him to prove. He's by far the best T20 coach India has ever had, and probably the world's ever seen. And I don't think people talk about that enough. Of course, there are problems that he has, and we've seen that in the ODI setup. We've seen that in the Test format. We've seen that with how Sanju Samson was treated when Shubman Gill came in. We've seen all of that. But he still got the results in the T20 format. And I don't think, as much as people can say, yeah, but in the ODI and the Test, yeah, but if you objectively look at one format, he is the best by a mile. And there's no argument. There's no one can really say anything about that. He hasn't seen a defeat. In fact, he hasn't lost a final as a player or as a coach in a World Cup. 2007 T20 World Cup, he's won. 2011, he's won. This, he's won. Asia Cup final, he's won. As a coach, what has he not won?
Champions Trophy also.
Champions
if you want to talk about
My God.
ODIs. But yeah, like a lot of people also bring in the argument of he had a really good team and so he could do it. But even with that team, it's important for it to have some sort of direction. And so I think to some extent, credit where due, because Gambhir has done a lot of things right. The thing with the all-rounders, of course, there was a base to 2024, but for him to take it to the next level, and at least in the case of a World Cup, he's at least backed some players like Abhishek Sharma despite his failures. So I think he can only be lauded on those efforts. And although I know some people will be salty about it, there's no two ways about this fact that Gautam Gambhir is now India's most successful T20 coach for sure. As Ashwin said, no series losses, won the Asia Cup, won the T20 World Cup. What will be interesting to see is what lies ahead. Can he translate this to the 2027 ODI World Cup? Because that's what a lot of Indian fans will be hoping for. Getting a victory in South Africa would be the icing on the cake, not only for the Indian fans, but especially also for Gautam Gambhir. And so, yeah, that's mostly it on this news and this meme, rather.
Yeah, and no, it's just very funny to me when people. I mean, Gautam Gambhir. Yeah, it's a thing people can go on about, and I feel like the Reddit had a melt. I mean, it's one of the subreddits, not naming any, had a whole meltdown after India won the World Cup because Gautam Gambhir could smile about it, and even MS Dhoni posted a picture with a caption about how looking at Gambhir's smile is great. Imagine the fact that Dhoni, out of all, said that about Gautam Gambhir. Just there's a whole group of people melting down. But this has been the news of the day. There's no international cricket today, unless I'm mistaken, unless there is a game that I'm forgetting. But if there is, you will hear about it tomorrow at 8 a.m. only on
Wake Up Cricket,
powered by Pavilion Picks. So see you guys tomorrow. Hit the like button and share and subscribe. And see you guys tomorrow at 8 a.m. Peace.